The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is the ultimate benchmark for open-world RPGs, and the original version runs on practically a toaster. You are the Dragonborn, thrown into a massive, frosty province torn apart by civil war and the return of world-eating dragons. The core mechanic is total freedom. You can dual-wield spells, sneak around with a ridiculously overpowered stealth archer build, or just craft iron daggers for hours. Visually, its sweeping auroras and rugged landscapes hold up beautifully. You need to play this because the lore is insanely deep, the modding scene is god tier, and getting lost in this world is a rite of passage for every PC gamer. Mad Max is an absolute hidden gem that runs incredibly well on low-end rigs. Set in a gorgeous, sun-scorched post-apocalyptic wasteland, you play as a lone survivor trying to build the ultimate death machine, the magnum opus. The vehicular combat is top tier, letting you harpoon enemy tires and smash warlord convoys into scrap metal. On foot, the combat features a crunchy Batman Arkham-style rhythm that feels incredibly satisfying. Visually, the dynamic sandstorms and massive explosions are eye candy without tanking your frames. It's an incredibly optimized, action-packed thrill ride where upgrading your car becomes a serious addiction. You absolutely cannot miss this one. The Saboteur takes you to 1940s occupied Paris for an open-world experience dripping with style. You play as an Irish race car driver turned resistance fighter, blowing up enemy installations and climbing buildings in a mechanic that feels very Assassin's Creed. The visual hook is absolutely brilliant. Areas controlled by the enemy are rendered in a stark, moody black and white, with only red accents showing. Once you liberate a zone, vibrant color floods back into the world. It's incredibly satisfying. You have to play this for the explosive stealth action gameplay, the slick aesthetic, and the sheer joy of causing absolute chaos against the occupation. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor completely changed the game with its mind-blowing Nemesis system. You step into the boots of Talion, a ranger infused with a wraith spirit, hacking and slashing your way through hordes of Uruks. The combat is buttery smooth and brutal, giving you insane powers to brainwash enemies or execute them with flashy combos. The real magic is how enemies remember you. If an orc kills you, he gets promoted, remembers your face, and trash talks you the next time you meet. Visually, the gloomy, mud-slicked aesthetic of Mordor is perfectly captured. Play this for the unmatched satisfaction of hunting down your personal rivals. Dead Space 2 is a masterpiece of survival horror that is shockingly forgiving on older hardware. You are Isaac Clarke, trapped on a massive space station overrun by terrifying mutated corpses called necromorphs. The core mechanic revolves around strategic dismemberment. Instead of going for headshots, you have to surgically slice off alien limbs using brutal mining tools like the plasma cutter. The lighting and shadow work in this game are stunningly immersive, creating an atmosphere that will legitimately make you sweat. You need to play this for the flawless pacing, the zero-G set pieces, and a story that messes with your mind from start to finish. Wolfenstein: The New Order completely revived the boomer shooter genre with a deeply emotional, character-driven story. You play as BJ Blazkowicz, waking up in an alternate 1960s where the bad guys won World War II. The gunplay is heavy, loud, and incredibly fast-paced, letting you dual-wield massive shotguns and turn enemy mechs into scrap metal. Visually, the brutalist architecture and dystopian retro sci-fi tech look incredible without demanding a beefy GPU. It perfectly balances over-the-top run-and-gun carnage with surprisingly tender narrative moments. If you want to blast through an unforgettable campaign with buttery smooth frame rates and a killer soundtrack, this is an absolute must-play. Metro Light Light delivers one of the most atmospheric and immersive experiences in PC gaming. Deep underground in the irradiated tunnels of post-apocalyptic Moscow, you have to survive mutant attacks and warring human factions. The survival mechanics are intense. Your gas mask filters degrade, and military-grade bullets actually double as your currency. You have to manually wipe blood and dirt off your visor, which constantly keeps you engaged. The lighting engine is phenomenal, casting terrifying shadows across the cramped, claustrophobic subway lines. Play this for a gritty, story-heavy shooter that prioritizes pure survival horror and world-building over mindless run-and-gun action. Far Cry 3 remains the absolute peak of the franchise and runs like a dream on older setups. You are a stranded tourist forced to become a hardened survivor on a beautiful but deadly tropical island. The gameplay loop is incredibly addictive. You hunt wildlife to craft better gear, clear out enemy outposts using stealth or full-blown explosives, and climb radio towers to reveal the map. Visually, the lush jungles and crystal-clear oceans are vibrant and stunning. You have to play this just to experience Voss, one of the most iconic and terrifying villains in gaming history, along with phenomenal open-world sandbox chaos. Sleeping Dogs is basically an interactive high-octane martial arts movie set in the neon-soaked streets of Hong Kong. You play as Wei Shen, an undercover cop infiltrating the brutal Sun On Yi triad. The core of the gameplay is its incredible fluid melee combat that lets you break bones and use environmental takedowns, like shoving thugs into air conditioners or over balconies. Visually, driving through the rain-slicked streets at night with the neon signs reflecting off the puddles looks amazing. This is a massive hidden gem with a gripping, mature storyline and some of the best hand-to-hand brawling you will ever experience. A Plague Tale of Innocence is a gripping, emotional roller coaster that focuses heavily on stealth and puzzle solving. Set in 14th century France during the Inquisition, you play as Amika, trying to protect her younger brother from both ruthless soldiers and terrifying literal oceans of plague-infested rats. The gameplay revolves around using light to manipulate the rat swarms and a specialized sling to take out armored guards. The graphics are stunningly detailed, heavily focusing on gloomy, oppressive atmospheres that perfectly fit the dark tone. You have to play this for the incredibly strong sibling dynamic and a totally unique, tension-filled take on stealth mechanics. L.A. Noire is a brilliantly executed detective thriller that lets you play out your classic noir fantasies. You are LAPD detective Cole Phillips, solving gruesome murders and untangling a massive conspiracy in 1940s Los Angeles. The standout feature here is the revolutionary facial animation tech. During interrogations, you actually have to read suspects' faces to figure out if they are lying or telling the truth before slamming down evidence. The recreation of post-war LA is visually stunning, complete with authentic jazz scores and classic cars. If you want a slow-burn, narrative-heavy puzzle game that treats you like an adult, this is a top-tier choice. Life is Strange is a narrative adventure that will entirely break your heart in the best way possible. You play as Max, a photography student who suddenly discovers she has the power to rewind time. The core mechanic lets you undo dialogue choices or puzzle mistakes to see different outcomes, which drastically alters the branching storyline. Visually, it uses a beautiful hand-painted art style, accompanied by a deeply nostalgic indie folk soundtrack that sets a perfect autumn vibe. You have to play this for the incredibly emotional, choice-driven narrative that deals with heavy real-world issues. Grab some tissues because this one hits extremely hard. Alan Wake is a psychological thriller that feels like playing through a classic Stephen King novel. You step into the shoes of a famous horror writer searching for his missing wife in the creepy, foggy town of Bright Falls. The combat is incredibly unique. Enemies are protected by shadows, so you have to use your flashlight to literally burn the darkness off them before your bullets can do any damage. The lighting engine was way ahead of its time, creating a visually terrifying and oppressive forest environment. You need to play this for the brilliant episodic storytelling, the eerie atmosphere, and a mystery that keeps you guessing.
Half-Life 2 is simply a foundational pillar of PC gaming that every single player needs to experience. You are Gordon Freeman, leading a resistance against an alien empire that has completely taken over Earth. The game revolutionized physics-based gameplay, heavily featuring the iconic gravity gun, which lets you pick up radiators, explosive barrels, or saw blades to hurl at enemies. Even today, the dystopian architecture of City 17 and the eerie facial animations hold up surprisingly well on low-spec rigs. You have to play this because it sets the absolute gold standard for pacing, level design, and immersive, unbroken storytelling in first-person shooters. Mass Effect 3 is the epic, galaxy-spanning conclusion to one of the greatest sci-fi trilogies ever written. You play as Commander Shepard, desperately trying to unite the alien races of the Milky Way to fight off an apocalyptic invasion by the Reapers. The gameplay is a brilliant mix of tactical, squad-based cover shooting and deep RPG character building. Visually, the massive set pieces and cinematic dialogue scenes are spectacular. You need to experience this for the world building alone. The choices you make carry immense weight, and interacting with your crewmates between chaotic missions creates a bond few other video games can ever replicate. BioShock is an atmospheric masterpiece that completely redefines what a narrative shooter can be. You crash land in the ocean and descend into Rapture, a breathtaking underwater utopia that has collapsed into complete genetic madness. The gameplay encourages massive creativity by letting you hack turrets, lay traps, and dual-wield traditional firearms with plasmids, genetic mutations that let you shoot fire or lightning from your bare hands. The Art Deco visual style is incredibly striking and runs perfectly on old hardware. Play this for the jaw-dropping plot twists, the terrifying Big Daddies, and an environment dripping with political philosophy and unmatched, eerie atmosphere. Spec Ops: The Line looks like a generic military shooter on the surface, but it hides one of the darkest, most mind-bending narratives in gaming. You lead a Delta Force squad into the ruins of Dubai, which has been completely buried by cataclysmic sandstorms. The cover shooter mechanics are solid, letting you use dynamic sand avalanches to bury your enemies. Visually, the juxtaposition of ruined luxury and horrific war crimes is unforgettable. You absolutely must play this for the story. It is a psychological descent into madness that directly attacks the player, deconstructing the entire shooter genre. It is an unforgettable, traumatizing masterpiece. Dishonored is a phenomenal first-person stealth action game that gives you unparalleled freedom. You are Corvo Attano, a supernatural assassin out for revenge in a plague-ridden, steampunk city powered by whale oil. The level design is god-tier, allowing you to approach any target however you want. You can freeze time, possess a rat to sneak through a vent, or just go loud with a sword and a pistol. The game's Art Deco visual style ages brilliantly and keeps performance buttery smooth. You need to play this for the insanely creative mechanics and a dynamic world that literally changes based on how violently you play. Tomb Raider completely rebooted the iconic franchise, giving us a raw, incredibly gritty origin story for Lara Croft. Stranded on a mysterious, hostile island, you have to transform from an inexperienced explorer into a hardened survivor. The gameplay is an addictive blend of exploration, tight platforming, and incredibly satisfying bow and arrow combat. Visually, the mud, rain, and chaotic set pieces look shockingly good considering how well optimized it is for low-end machines. You have to play this for the spectacular cinematic pacing and the fantastic character development. It is a non-stop action adventure that hooks you from the very first minute.